Company expired license, no operation, established to get residency, need to register for corporate tax. It's a great question. The simple answer is yes. All legal entities will need to be registered with FTA. So FTA is the Federal Tax Authority. You mentioned the word or the phrase corporate tax. Corporate applies to corporations. And in the eyes of the law, any kind of legal entity is a corporate entity for the purposes of corporate tax, which means what? Which means that overall, all legal entities in the UAE, legal entities meaning you have a license, you have to register with FTA. One, and two, by law, all of these entities will also have to submit tax returns. However, not all will have to pay the tax, because then the tax is all obviously governed or determined by your revenue and your profitability, because it's a profitability tax or income tax. So corporate income tax, that is. So therefore, you don't necessarily have to pay tax unless you're above the threshold. But you will have, legally speaking, you have to register with FTA, and you will have to prepare and submit tax returns every year. And that applies to all companies. And this is why it's an interesting question, because there are so many companies like you just described out there that were set up for a simple purpose of having a residence visa. Now, the immigration rules have changed, and it's a lot easier now to have residence visa without having to have a company. But there's still a lot of these legacy companies, and there's still others who still need to have a company in order to have residence visa. And so, yes, but the important issue here is that all of those companies and all of those licenses will be required to be registered with FTA. So perhaps this is the time to rethink about whether it's still wise to have these companies run, or perhaps close them down and come up with a different strategy for residence visa, especially since there's so many more options. Now, I do want to kind of leave the final comment here, is that this applies to even all the free zones. Again, in legal terms. In practical terms, how long it will take for the authorities to actually enforce all of this remains to be seen. But in legal terms, it applies to all companies, including the free zone companies. That means Al Quwain, Fujairah, RAC, whatever small little companies you've had running there for visa purposes, all of them in legal terms will have to register.